Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks 9.22 Testserver video. Today with a preview of the Object 705A, the upcoming Tier 10 super heavy rear turreted mounted tank. And well, it is certainly an oddity in the game, because if you know how to play this beast, it is almost too impossible penetrating it with AP shells. But for that I want to again refer to my how to penetration video guides, which I also made a video, or I'm also going to do a video about this tank, but so far or right now we are focusing on the preview videos. So well then, this tank so far has a 650 damage gun. It is quite special. It's like the second gun in the game which has 650 damage, the other one being on the Object 268 version 4, which is the new tier 10 heavy tank destroyer. And yeah, the DPM of this tank is surprisingly not even too bad. 2600 is roughly the same as the one on the IS-7. It is certainly though not as fast as an IS-7, and the accuracy, well, it is worse, though the aim time is a bit better. Gun depression wise, -5 degrees for a rear turreted tank is still good. Compared to the Panzerkampfwagen 7, it's not that good though. This tank though, for being so flat and having really strong armor, I think 5 degrees of gun depression is totally workable with. The armor model, as already said, is impressively strong. You will see it in the videos, in the gameplays we are having a look right afterwards. And yes, the HP to ton ratio of this vehicle are surprisingly good. We have a vehicle with 100 tons of weight and horsepower, or an engine with 1500 horsepower, giving us an almost 15 HP to ton ratio, which is for such a humongous vehicle surprisingly good. It's not as good as it's roughly same as it is on the AMX M454. Just the AMX M454 has a better top speed of 40 kilometers per hour compared to oh, actually not, I'm sorry there, it's above 40 kilometers per hour. Just this thing, it feels like it's not reaching those that often. Camouflage wise, it's, well, it is for a heavy and quote-unquote stealthy, but it's definitely not a stealthy tank at all. And lastly, the view range with 400 meter base view range is actually pretty darn neat. So with tank gun, with vents, with optics and brothers in arms, you have 447 meters of view range. To get this vehicle, you have to grind out 162,000 experience, which is well, it is quite a bit to grind. But if you already have the IS-7, it's not a big deal. Why exactly? Because you will have this BL-13A gun, you're getting that for free. You will getting the 130mm gun for free because it's the same as on the IS-7. And so you basically just need to focus on getting the turret, which is 63,500 experience. And maybe the engine on the tier 9 tank, the engine can make a difference, but the good thing about this tank is or no, excuse me, it's not the good thing. You also need to get the tracks. So yeah, 24 and 63k, so roughly 80k experience till you are able to comfortably grind the 705A. But now let's jump into the gameplays. Okay, before we start into the first gameplay, I just want to quickly show the armor. The most important thing is the lower plate is only 140mm thick, meaning that tier 8 vehicles will have their troubles penetrating it. But otherwise, if we are going into a side scraping position, it starts to shine. 300mm at least of effective armor. Except for the lower plate, this one should be well hidden. What you need to watch out for is that your lower side armor is only, again in quotation marks, 100 millimeters thick, and from time to time you even have the ability to penetrate the Object 705A quite easily through the frontal road wheel and this upper side armor. Otherwise, the turret is impenetrable if you are not shooting heat shells or any other premium shells. For most tier 10 heavy tanks, this turret still stays to be one of the strongest turrets to fight against. It only starts to crumble against Jagdpanzer 100 and other tier 10 TDs, and the 183 and the FV4005 stage 2 if they're shooting up here, which is 60 millimeters thick. So yeah, let's now go to the gameplay, with the first one being on Serene Coast. Well, in a standard game in a top tier where all others are also tier 10 vehicles. And yes, in this game we decide to go into the medium tank position because I tried to fully utilize my strong turret. As we already established, the turret is close to impenetrable for anybody to get through. But I do have to point out the tank looks slick AF. Like, in my opinion, it's one of the most amazing looking tank models in the game. Not because there's a lot of stuff added to it and not because of the OP bucket in the side, but just look at the turret and how this machine guns, or I guess anti-aircraft guns, are positioned. It looks just so freaking amazing in my opinion. Really futuristic and really fun to look at. This game, in contrary to the other one, is less about doing block damage but more about dealing it out ourselves. As you can see, the IS-7 is certainly faster than us because, as already pointed out, our terrain resistance is not the best, sadly enough. But we're still driving around 30 to 35 kilometers per hour, and if it goes downhill we reach our 40 kilometers per hour with a breeze. Now still we have to look out what we are doing to fight against them. There is an enemy 705A in its peak position, and man, this position he has at the moment is absolutely bonkers because look, we can't do right now anything to penetrate him. Our heat shells are only 310 millimeters strong, meaning against 330 to 340 millimeters of armor we have a big problem to penetrate. But what we can do is wait out his reload, and there we have it. The quick enough aim time, the decent gun stabilization on the move gives us an quite easy shot into his lower plate for 746 damage. I'm actually a little bit surprised, and let me see if we can get in our why is it not showing our reload? That would be nice because in game it actually shows us the reload, but right now it suddenly doesn't want to. It's around 13 to 14 seconds, being quite decently comparable to the one of the Panzerkampfwagen 7 and yeah, and the AMX M454. Being also, but they do have less powerful guns when it comes to damage per shot. Now we turn our vehicle around, you can see the turret traverse speed is quite a little bit slow, and what was that? We bounced that shot sadly enough on the TVP, but it was a snapshot in the end, so we were even lucky enough to hit it. Again, we still need to wait for the VK to Object 705A to do his move before we decide to rush this little fella. You can see another shot into the lower plate, 567 damage, and he is a goner. Now we are waiting our reload out. Maybe we can get another shot into the next 705A before he is back in the cover. Doesn't work out, or does it? He's showing us his weak side armor, 671 damage, and we are going to push onwards. I'm deciding not to charge him frontally, but I'm going from the right hand side and do a little flanking maneuver. Again, Around speed of 45 kilometers per hour, pretty decently. Could be better, could be worse. I'm happy for what armor it offers. And another shot on the move, 760 damage, a nice little ram. Sadly we get our tracks done, but yeah, 446 ram damage against 105. Pretty decent trade. We are ongoing with our push into the enemy base. And well, yeah. We are trying to do our best. The enemy 705A right now is in an impressive hold down position, so we need to get closer before we can actually do something against it. And I think the other thing we need to do is to, well, yeah, get him down and, well, yeah, surround him. As our DPM is decent enough and we have people which are actually doing against things. What I don't understand now is the IS-7, I took a shot, so I'm not understanding why he is stopping and reversing, even though he has better reload time than the 705A, plus we were right behind him. 3,800 damage and total 8 spotting damage because of a D-track. We keep on rolling against the last enemy forces, which went down the beach side, and oh boy, there we have it. An enemy 705A and a Type 5 heavy. Our shot sadly hits the 705A's spaced armor, so we are missing that shot. I'm deciding, like the 430U, to get into a decent position where we can hide our lower plate. Can we do a shot into the side? Sadly enough, we quite missed it, but we get some detracking from the 430U. Now we are loading some heat shells, as Type 4 heavies are close to impenetrable for us frontally. A nice little heat shell into his, I think, driver position seals the deal for another 641 damage. He is a gunner. We still have a heat shell left, and well, maybe we can sink it into the last 705A. Yes, with a, well, nice little fire, and another 330 damage is on our little damage bank. Overall, an impressive game. We were solely there to farm some damage. We were almost ignored always by the enemies. Quite sad, I couldn't really show you the armor of the tank, but I can do it afterwards in the second gameplay we are having today. Can we get the one last shot onto the E5? Nope, we are too slow, and the last 705A is in our base and we will not be able to get there in time. So yeah, I'm deciding, you know what, let's just wait till he is a gunner. Well, what you also could see is that those frontal plates here, if they are not in such an angle, can be weak spots. 150 millimeters here, and with some premium shells we were able to penetrate it, and because those tanks have frontal laying, well, what's it called? Engines and rear mounted turrets, you can start burning easily and getting damage to your, sadly enough, engine and to your driver. So you need to look out for that. This game gave us a whopping tank batch first class, 13 bonds and 5,464 damage. Totally a great game. We had most damage of all of our team, 11 shots, 10 hits, 7 penetration hits. Quite decent enough if you think about it. Just 7 hits and we dealt 5.4k damage. Okay, I am subtracting 300 damage. We had 5.1k. Now let's go to the second game. And here is it, another top tier game where we can let shine our side scraping muscles as this map. Oh boy, if you think, like, comparing to the Amex M4, this map is not really that good, especially the city, as it is, well, you guess it, you don't have lower plate cover. And side scraping is really hard. As the Amex M454 also have such flanks, which are much less armored and have only 60mm side armor. But with this tank, this map is an absolute beastitude. We can get into the position on J0, which I am driving there right about now, and you will be able to do tons of fun stuff against it, because really important with the 705 and the 705A is that you can make a corridor. When you can make a corridor, your side armor will hold off enemies and you'll be able to perfectly side scrape. If you're not able to do a corridor, you will be probably boned quite a bit, because as soon as they have enough of your side armor, effectivity goes down a lot. It's not a 257, it has not this bonkers side armor, so you need to watch out for that one. So as you can see, we are still moving into position. We already see our enemies there, another 705A and another one and another one. 4 to be precise, it looks like. And yes, right now we are waiting for them to make their first fatal flaw before they're getting out. And as you can see, we are trying our best to have the perfect side scraping position. And what was that, my friend? Just showing me your frontal road wheel in such an angle, giving me the D-track and the fire damage. Again, this tank loves to burn. You need to be extremely careful if you're using those pesky, it's called pesky combat ratios. There we go. This guy once again made a mistake, showing me his side. He thought I'm not there anymore. I even have the ability to shoot into his lower plate if I'm lucky. Sadly enough, it bounces off, and well, now we need to wait for the 50B to finish him off. What I tried to do now is claiming the detracking damage for my end. Sadly didn't work, and we don't get any spotting damage. But luckily enough, the heat shell of the enemy simply bounced off our amazingly side armor. A shot on the move seals the deal with the next 705, another 513 damage, and we get in return 413 damage of HE. Once again, we drive in an angle to not get exposed too much against the enemy 705, and you can see we have no way penetrating each other. It's, at the moment, really hard. And he is wasting his heat shot into my tracks, and I'm deciding, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing as you do, using your dead comrade as your shield. Luckily enough, the Type 5 was showing me his side armor, now he is not, and gosh darn it, we need to watch out, because Type 5 heavies are something. We miss our shot into the weak spot. He gives us 540 damage. The only reliable way of actually doing damage to our tank is obviously the no-skill tank called Type 5 Heavy and its premium shells. We in return load also some heat shells to seal the deal. Sadly enough, we hit his turret cheeks, which make it bounce again, and another pin for 466 damage. Gosh darn it! 310 millimeters of heat shell penetration are again not the best thing to have. Luckily enough, this shot finally penetrates and we can hide behind the wreck. He is only damaging our gun, but Artie is also in our position, so we need to be impressively careful. He's making once more the mistake, looking right at us. Another spicy HE shell from the artillery, and whoa, we again bounce a shot on the object 705. We still have a heat shell loaded in our gun, and well, now I'm trying to find a spot where I will be able to penetrate him. Through the turret maybe? Nope, I miss my shot into the turret. And well, yeah, there he goes, and obviously the RT just waited for him to die so they can finish me off. HE, the biggest weakness of this tank for sure. And why is it also a biggest weakness? You saw it. 430 damage by an Object 2SX1. Everybody is saying that artillery got nerf damage. Nope, not here. Engine deck, 40mm thick, meaning everything with a gun greater than 120mm will have auto pen there, meaning it's super weak, meaning this is also why a Type 5 Heavy is doing so much damage onto our turret front. So this is what this game gave us. We sadly did only 3k damage, still a decent enough of damage. 9 shots, 9 hits, only 5 penetrations. We whiffed a lot of shots, but 2600 damage blocked with our mighty armor. Well then guys, this is the preview to the 705A. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the tank and the preview. And yeah, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you all later.